There's a spider in your basement right now that you're fixing to kill this week. And when you do, you're going to make your spider problem worse. Not better. Worse. Because that one's on your side. That one eats the ones you're actually afraid of. 41 years I did residential pest control. South Georgia, up through Alabama, over into the Carolinas. 10,000 basements and crawl spaces, give or take. And in all that time, I found exactly 2 spiders in American homes that could genuinely hurt somebody. 2. I'm going to show you how to tell every one of them apart. And I'm going to do it so you'll remember it standing in your own hallway at 11 o'clock at night. But I'll tell you now, there's one mistake folks make that undoes every last thing in this video. I watched people make it in front of me for 4 decades. That's at the end. And that's the part that actually matters. Here's what happens in a normal house. Somebody sees something with legs move across the floor. Doesn't matter what it was, didn't get a good look, don't care. Shoe comes off, or the can comes out from under the kitchen sink, and that's the end of it. 2 weeks later, there's another one, then another. And by the middle of September, there's one every night. And that's about when my phone would ring and somebody'd ask me what was wrong with their house. Nothing was wrong with their house. What was wrong is they'd been fighting the wrong war. Killing them one at a time when what they had was a food supply. Spiders are not in your house because your house is dirty. I want to be real clear on that, because I've had women near tears on their own front porch over it, and there was no call for it. Spiders are in your house because your house is full of something they want to eat. So you kill the spider. You've took out one predator. The food's still sitting right there. And something else moves in to take its place. And it's liable to be worse than what you just stepped on. Now let me tell you how the business actually works, because this is the part nobody says out loud. When I was on the route, a spider call was the easiest money we had. Somebody's scared. They've seen something. They want it gone today. And they are not asking a whole lot of questions about the invoice. So we'd roll out, do a perimeter treatment, hit the eaves, the foundation line, the window frames, write it up. And here's the thing, most of the time, it worked. Not because we killed the spiders, because we killed the bugs the spiders were eating. The spiders left on their own account because their supper was gone. But that is not what went on the ticket. Ticket said spider treatment, because we killed the ants and the moths and the gnats around your foundation. And the spiders followed the food out of your yard does not sound like $200. And because if you understand that sentence, you understand you could have done most of it yourself with a shop vac, a tube of caulk, and one Saturday morning. I'm not telling you the industry's crooked. Most of the men I rode with were decent men. I'm telling you we sold the fear, and the fear was mostly not warranted. 41 years. I never one time had a customer seriously hurt by a spider, not once. But Lord, I had customers bomb a whole house. Kids out at the grandmother's for the night, dogs sitting in the car, over a spider that couldn't have hurt a toddler. So here's how we're doing this. First, the one you should never kill. The spider that's working for you for free every night. Then 4 you'll see all the time that can't do a thing to you. Then the 2 that can, and exactly how to know 'em cold. Then what don't work, and I've tried every bit of it. And then the mistake. You know this one. Long, thin legs, little bit of a body, hangs upside down in a loose, messy web in the corner of the basement or over the garage door. Most folks call them daddy long legs. Here's why you leave it be. It eats other spiders. That web looks lazy and half-finished because it ain't built to catch flies. It's built to catch things that walk. A cellar spider will take on a spider bigger than itself, and that includes both of the 2 we're getting to. And I'll tell you how she does it because it's the smartest thing in your whole house. She don't wrestle. She walks up to the edge of a widow's web and she plucks it, jiggles it just like a bug caught in it. The widow comes running out to collect her supper. And when she gets close, that cellar spider throws long ropes of silk over her from a safe distance, wraps her up before she can turn around, and eats her. That little gray thing in your basement corner hunts black widows for a living. And you were fixing to knock her down with a broom. What it cost you? A messy corner. That's all. Fangs are too small to amount to anything, and they've got no interest in you. What it saves you. It patrols the exact places you don't want to put your hand. behind the water heater, back of the crawl space, up in the floor joists. The mistake folks make. They knock the webs down every spring because the corner looks untidy. Then they wonder how come they've got more of everything by August. You just fired your night shift. What to do instead? Leave the ones in the basement, the garage, the crawl space, the shed. If one bothers you in the living room, take that one down and let the rest work. And you're not going to get overrun. They eat each other, so they hold their own numbers down. What to expect? In a house where you leave them be, you'll notice fewer of the fast-moving spiders inside within a season. Not overnight, a season. Little, stocky, fuzzy. Usually black with white or orange markings. Moves in short, deliberate hops instead of running. And here's the giveaway. It turns around and looks at you. That's not your imagination. Jumping spiders have the best eyesight of any spider in North America. They hunt by sight, in the daytime, which is why you find them on windowsills and door frames. It don't build a web to catch anything. It stalks. So if you've got one on your kitchen window ledge, it is out there hunting the flies trying to get in at you. Can it bite you? Physically, sure, if you trap it in your hand. It won't amount to anything. This is about the least dangerous spider you'll ever share a room with. The mistake. People kill jumping spiders more than near anything else, and I reckon it's because they move quick, they're fuzzy, and they look right at you. Fear of being watched. That's the whole reason. What to do? Cup it and carry it out the back door if you can't stand it. It'll live, so will you. Those two are working for you. Now 4 more you'll see constantly that can't hurt you either. And then we get to the 2 that count. Wolf spider. Big, brown or gray, hairy, thick legs. Runs across the floor fast and low, generally at night, generally in the basement or on the ground floor. No web. This is the one gets people hollering, and it's purely on size and speed. Bites about like a wasp sting, and it won't bite unless you handle it. Sometimes you'll see one carrying her young on her back. That's a wolf spider. And she's not aggressive, she's busy. Orb weaver. Your classic wheel-shaped web across the porch or between the deck rails, built fresh most nights. Fat body, often banded legs. Never in your bed, never in your boot. These live outside and they stay in that web. Harmless. And I'll tell you, an orb weaver over your porch light is worth more than a bug zapper. She's set up exactly where the bugs go. Common house spider. Little, drab, tan, or gray-brown. Untidy web in a corner or a window frame. Lives inside year-round. Harmless. Grass spider. Sheet web with a funnel running down into the grass or a crack in the foundation. Quick when you disturb it. Not a thing to worry about. Now, I want to say something about the hobo spider because I spent years telling customers the wrong thing about it. For a long while, the belief in the trade was that a hobo spider bite made the flesh rot around the bite. That's been tested and it isn't so. The venom don't contain tissue-destroying components. I repeated that for years because it's what I was taught. It was wrong. And if somebody tells you today a hobo spider will put a hole in your leg, they're working off information that got corrected a long time ago. All right, everything up to now you can leave alone. This one you can't. How to know her, and there's really only one thing you need. Glossy black. Round abdomen, like a little black berry on legs, and a red hourglass on the underside. Underside, not the top. Which sounds like a problem until you understand how she lives. She hangs upside down in her web, all day, every day. So the underside is the side facing you. You'll see it. Hold on to that word. Glossy, not dull, not fuzzy. Wet-looking black, like it just come out of the paint. There's a dozen dark spiders in an American house, and only one of them shines like that. Now her web will tell you before you ever see her. It ain't pretty. It's not the wheel your orb weaver builds out on the porch. It's a tangle. Strong, though. You'll hear it. If you run a stick through a web and it crackles instead of giving way, back up and take a look at what built it. That's a widow's web. Nothing else in your yard spins silk that heavy. Where she is. She wants 3 things. Dark, dry, and undisturbed. Close to the ground. So, under the deck steps. Inside the electric meter box. Underneath the patio furniture that ain't moved since May. The face of the woodpile. Behind the garbage cans. That corner of the garage where the paint cans live. inside a boot in the shed, the lip underneath the mailbox. I found more widows under deck steps in Macon than any other place in my whole career, and I don't reckon that's chance. It's dark, it's dry, it's out of the weather, and there's not a soul on earth who looks under their own steps. Where she isn't, the middle of your kitchen floor. She's no traveler. She builds and she stays, and she'll die within a few feet of where she hatched. What she does if you find her? Nothing. That's the thing nobody believes. A widow's first move is to drop, curl up, and play dead. Second move is to run. Biting you is somewhere down the list, and she only gets there when she's pressed against skin, under a glove, inside a sleeve, under a hand that just closed on her. Which is exactly why the bites happen the way they do. In 41 years, I never heard of one person bit walking through a room. Every last one of them was somebody putting a bare hand somewhere they couldn't see, reaching under, reaching behind, picking up. So here's the whole job, and it takes one Saturday morning. Leather gloves, daylight, not a flashlight at 10 at night, daylight. And you go around the outside of your house and you look under things. Deck steps, meter box, furniture, woodpile, behind the cans, where you find that heavy tangled web with a shiny black spider hanging upside down in it. You knock it down with a stick, you step on her, and you make a note to check that same spot again in 2 weeks. But knocking her down is only half of it, because right next to her in that web there's usually something else, small, about the size of a pea, papery and the color of old cream. And if you leave that behind, you have not solved a thing. You've just delayed it by about a month. That little papery ball is an egg sac, and one of them holds somewhere between 200 and 400 eggs. Read that again. One spider you didn't see, in a corner you didn't check, under steps you walk over every single day, and she's sitting on a few hundred of the next ones. This is the answer to the question I got asked more than any other question in 4 decades. Ray, I killed one last month. Why have I got them again? You didn't have a spider. You had a nursery, and you removed one adult from it. How to know an egg sac when you see it. Widow sacs are round to pear-shaped, about a 1/4 inch across, papery, tough, and off-white to tan. They're suspended in the web, not stuck to the wall. She'll guard it, so if you see the sac, she's close, what most folks do. They knock the web down, kill the spider, and leave the sac laying in the grass underneath, where it hatches anyway, in the dirt, under the same steps. What you do instead? 2 things, and neither costs $1. You vacuum. A shop vac with the long wand, take the spider, the web, and the sac in one pass. No reaching, no hands anywhere near her. Then you take the bag or the canister out of the garage, seal it, and put it in the outside bin. Not the kitchen trash, outside. Or, if you'd rather not run the vac out there, you crush the sac with the same stick, on the ground. And you make sure it's flat. They're tougher than they look. It should not still be round when you walk away. And this is the part I want you to actually do. Come back and look at the same spot in 2 weeks. And again 2 weeks after that. Sacs that were already laid before you got there will still hatch. You're not treating a spider, you're breaking a cycle, and a cycle takes more than one Saturday. Now, that's the one that everybody's heard of. The next one's different because with the next one, the spider ain't the problem. The diagnosis is. And there's a real chance somebody's already told you the wrong thing about it. I'll be honest with you, I spent a lot of years scaring people about this spider, and I've come around on it. How to know it. Even light to medium brown, all over. And here's your test, the one that beats every other test. The legs are plain. No stripes, no bands, no blotches, no spines sticking out, just smooth, thin, even brown legs. University of Kentucky says the same thing. Abdomen and legs evenly colored, no stripes, no bands, no mottling, no conspicuous spines. Grown one with the legs stretched out is about the size of a 1/4. Now that violin. Everybody's heard about the violin on its back. It's the least useful thing about this spider, and I wish it had never got famous. It fades. It varies. It's dark on some and near invisible on others. And there are a dozen harmless brown spiders in this country with a smudge on the back that a scared person will call a violin at 11 o'clock at night. Forget the violin. Look at the legs. Plain legs, no spines. That's your spider. Striped or spiny legs, that's not. Where it is, true to the name. It don't want to see you. Cardboard boxes in the garage. The closet nobody opens. Behind the baseboard. Inside a boot that sat all winter. Folded clothes in the attic. Between papers in a stored file box. You'll notice a theme there. Cardboard and things that haven't moved. And here's the part that matters most, and it's why I changed how I talk about this. The brown recluse has a limited range in this country, and it's a lot smaller than most folks believe. Draw a line from southeastern Nebraska across to southwestern Ohio, then down to northwestern Georgia and west into Texas. That box is where it lives. Roughly 16 states, Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas. Outside that, a confirmed recluse is close to unheard of. And I don't mean uncommon. I mean researchers ran a study where they invited the public to mail in every spider folks were dead certain was a recluse. Near 1,800 spiders came in. From 49 states. From outside that range? Two. Two real ones out of all of that. So think about what that means. If you live in Oregon or Maine or Michigan, and somebody told you a brown recluse bit you, it almost certainly did not. And that matters, because those wounds are usually something else. A good many of them are bacterial infections. And a bacterial infection needs treating as a bacterial infection, not waited out as a spider bite. I had customers show me a doctor's note saying brown recluse, in a state with no population of them at all. I nodded back then. I wouldn't now. What to do about it, and it's cheap. Get the cardboard out of your garage and your attic. Go buy the sealed plastic bins. That is the single best money you will ever spend on pest control, and it isn't close. Shake out boots and clothes that have been sitting. Wear gloves when you clear stored boxes. Pull the beds and the furniture a few inches off the wall. Now I've told you how to find both of them and how to keep them out. But I ain't yet told you the thing everybody actually wants to know. And it's the one I got asked at the door more than any other question. What do you do if one of them already got you? Let me say the important thing first. I'm not a doctor. I killed bugs for a living. So what follows is what I told folks at the door, and what I told them every single time was some version of, go get looked at. First, you may not even know it happened. A widow bite feels like a pinprick, then settles into a dull ache. A recluse bite is often painless when it happens. The pain comes on later, sometimes hours later. So don't wait to feel something dramatic before you take it serious. Here's what you do. Wash it. Mild soap and water. Put an antibiotic ointment on it, the kind off the shelf at any drugstore. 3 times a day. That's not for the venom, that's to keep infection out. And infection is what actually puts people in trouble. Cool cloth or an ice pack on it. About 15 minutes every hour. If it's on an arm or a leg, get it up and keep it still. Over-the-counter pain reliever if you need it. And then get on the phone. Poison control in this country is 1-800-222-1222. It's free, it's 24 hours, and there's a real person on the other end who does this all day. That's a call, not an emergency room. They'll tell you straight which one you need. One more thing folks forget. Ask your doctor about a tetanus shot if you haven't had one in the last 5 years. Puncture wound, same as stepping on a nail. Now what not to do. And I have watched people try every one of these. Don't cut it. Don't try to suck the venom out. Don't tie a tourniquet on it. Don't burn it. Don't put a match to it. Don't put bleach on it. None of that slows venom down. Not one bit of it. That's a myth, and all it does is add a second injury on top of the first one. And the wound is what puts people in the hospital, not the spider. When you stop calling and start driving. Severe pain, or cramping through the belly or the back, trouble breathing or swallowing. The wound getting bigger over days instead of better, or turning red, purple, or brown, or streaks running out from it. a young child, an older person, anybody who's already sick. Any one of those. That's an emergency room, not a phone call. And here's the thing that'll save you a bad week. The CDC says it plain. Identify the spider if you can do it safely, because it helps them treat you. So, jar it. Even squashed. Even a bad phone picture. Because near every wound in this country that gets called a spider bite was never a spider. It was an infection. And there's no antivenom for a recluse anyhow. The treatment is caring for the wound and keeping infection out of it. A doctor looking at the actual spider gets you to the right treatment faster than a doctor guessing at a hole in your arm. Don't chase it. Don't get bit twice being clever. But if it's laying right there, jar. All right, that's what works. Now let's talk about what don't. Because I've watched people spend real money on every one of these, and I've got a number for you on the last one that made me put my coffee down when I read it. All right, that's what works. Now let's talk about what don't. Because I've watched people spend real money on every one of these, and I've got a number for you on the last one that made me put my coffee down when I read it. I tested all of this over 4 decades, on other people's houses and on their money. Foggers and bug bombs. Just about useless on spiders. And here's the mechanism because nobody explains it. A fogger throws a fine mist that settles on flat surfaces. Floors, counters, the tops of things. But a spider walks up high on 8 long legs, and it don't groom itself the way a roach does. A roach cleans itself and swallows the poison it walked through. A spider doesn't. And the ones you actually care about are tucked underneath and behind things a mist will never reach. So you'll gas your house, put the kids out for the night, and that widow under the deck steps won't know one thing happened. Ultrasonic plug-in repellers. Now this one makes me hot, so bear with me. Kansas State tested these, found a little effect on crickets, and just about nothing on roaches, on ants, or on spiders. And the Federal Trade Commission has been after this whole business since the 80s. Back in 2001, they sent warning letters to more than 60 manufacturers, telling them to prove what was printed on the box. One of those companies got hit with a class action and paid out near $4 million over false advertising. I've seen these plugged in 100 houses. Not one time did I ever walk into a house with fewer spiders on account of one. And I'll tell you what's worse than the $20. It's the 2 weeks somebody waits on it while whatever they've actually got keeps right on breeding. Spider sprays off the shelf. Some will kill what you hit directly. None of them lay down a barrier that keeps working the way the label leads you to believe. What you're buying is a contact killer at a premium, and your shoe does the same job for free. Horse chestnuts and peppermint oil in the corners. Peppermint's got some limited repellent effect in a laboratory, at strengths you are not getting from a few drops on a cotton ball. Chestnuts don't do a thing. My aunt swore by 'em for 30 years, and had spiders the whole time she was swearing. Knocking the webs down and calling it done. Takes the web. Leaves the spider, leaves the sack, leaves the food. That's housekeeping. It ain't pest control. So that's the money you can quit spending. Now, the mistake I promised you at the very start. Because you can do every single thing right in this video and still be doing it every September for the rest of your life, if you get this last part wrong. Here it is. You're treating for spiders, when what you ought to be doing is taking away what they came for. Every spider in your house is in there because there's something in there to eat. That's it. That's the whole reason. They're not coming for you. They're not coming because the place is dirty. They're coming because your house is feeding them. Take away the food, and they leave on their own account. Nobody sprays anything. And I'll say the quiet part again. That is the exact same thing my company was charging $200 to do. We'd hit the foundation, we'd kill the ants and the moths and the gnats, the spiders would follow the food out of the yard, and we'd write spider treatment on the ticket. So here's the whole job, and there's 5 things on the list. 1. Your outside lights. That porch light is a dinner bell. It pulls in moths and gnats all night, and the spiders set up right where the food is. Change them to a warm bulb, or put them on a switch you actually use. This one thing changes more than anything else on the list. 2. Seal the gaps. Door sweeps, window frames, where the pipes come through the wall, where the dryer vent comes out. A tube of caulk is a few dollars and it works on every crawling thing you've got, not just spiders. 3. Vacuum the corners, the window sills, the ceiling edges, and take the egg sacs while you're in there. Bag it, seal it, outside bin. 4. Pull the mulch and the leaf litter back away from the foundation. 12–18 inches of bare ground. Everything living in that mulch is what's feeding what's coming inside. 5. Get the cardboard out of storage. Plastic bins. You already know why. That's it. That's the entire job, and there's not one poison on the list. Do that and the spiders thin out on their own inside a season, because there's nothing in your house worth the trouble anymore. Kill them one at a time, and I'll see you back here next September. One last thing. Go on down to your basement tonight and find that cellar spider you were fixing to get around to killing. The pale one with the long legs, up in the corner. Leave her be. She's working for free. She's been at it a lot longer than either one of us. And she's better at it than I ever was with a tank on my back. If you want the rest of what 41 years taught me, I put a new one up every couple of days. I'll be here.